It's about that time, baby, baby. Oh, yeah. Here we go, here we go.
The Sinclair show is on.
It is on.
Run it to your friends, come on.
Come on, come
So
on.
it's a moment of the show tonight. Mailbag is tight. Sinclair is on the mic.
Once again, it's on. You're still troubled in your home. Got your tripping, don't know right from wrong. Send your letters to the show so we can talk you through. Get the answers to your questions because we see that truth. Sometimes you doubt yourself, lost your health. Faith is on the fence, but you believe that Jesus knows your well. Keep the moving spirit flowing because we're here to provide someone to lean on when you're falling. Wednesday, 8 and 9, and it's on. What's going on, my people? I am glad to be out here tonight. Everything is everything, although we're getting a little storm. Whew. First of all, I want to thank all of you all who continue to send your mailbag questions and comments to Sinclair Talk at Outlook.com. We're going to continue to address as many as possible each night that I'm on the air to reach you, because y'all the valued listeners. That's right. The show is interactive, meaning when y'all reach out to me, we're going to talk about whatever you want to talk about. Few things I want to talk about, and that's how we get down. All right, let me see who is out here tonight. So we had Nikki Carter talking about some good evening, Sinclair. Nikki, I hope you've been staying out of trouble. Let me see. Look at there go Brother Rollins. Every time I turn around, Brother Rollins is right here on the show talking about good things. Jay Dizzle, what's up, Johnny Key? Glad to see y'all. And look at that. There go my mama. Hey, mama, what's going on? Gwendolyn, Lady Elegance Pritchett. And y'all know where she's coming from. She coming from laid back Army base in Redstone Arsenal, Alabama. Now, y'all know that's something now. What was I going to tell you? There's a bunch of stuff I was going to tell you. Oh, first of all, let me say this. Let me answer a few questions. I got people who've been asking me about, yes, I did get you guys as cash apps. Absolutely. We appreciate all the support to the show. It is wonderful. Glad that you guys are participating and showing your support. So obviously I thank you. Somebody asked me about the Sinclair shirts. If you want to get a Sinclair shirt, DM me, let me know your size, whatever, and I'll tell you how you can get a Sinclair shirt. What else did y'all ask me? Man, y'all know y'all be asking me some crazy questions. I'm gonna tell you, because I wear hats a lot, people be asking me, do I have hair? Yes, I have hair. What's wrong with y'all? So let me get that one out of the way fairly quickly. Let me see what else is some crazy. And I'm going through these. I think what I'm gonna start doing is at the beginning of every show, I'm going to answer some crazy questions or show y'all some of the crazy stuff that people be saying to me. But first of all, how y'all doing tonight? Is everybody out there in listening land doing well? I hope that is the case. Ty Matthews talking about, hey fam, how you doing? Glad to see you tonight on the show. There is James Key. What's going on, James? Tonight we got a lot of stuff to talk about. If the time goes over a little bit and y'all got to get up off the airwaves, I understand, but I had some complaints. And it wasn't just from Negroes, all right? So let me just say that. Kiki Matthews, glad to see you out from Hawaii. Yeah, I've been getting some complaints, man. People be talking about why that I be shortchanging them on some of the stuff. Call me Uncle Jam. Hey, you must be out your mind. I'm not calling you no Uncle Jam. If you want to be called Uncle Jam, you got to change it at your top bar. Next thing you know, no. That's like women be no, absolutely not. I ain't call you no Uncle Jam. That don't even sound right. Matter of fact, people, let me take that back. I'm trying to be a better version of myself. What do you all think? All of y'all that's on the show, what y'all think? Oh, he talking about Xavier gave him that. Hey, let me ask y'all a question. What y'all think about that? Yeah. Well, then you need to tell Xavier to call you that. I'm not calling you that. I'm a grown man. I'm not calling you no Uncle Jam. He my uncle. But anyway, so let me say this, people. So again, people be trying to tell me that they mad because some of the stuff that they want to talk about, I don't get to talk about. Listen, we only got an hour. And I got so much stuff going on in life, and that's a good problem. I am not complaining because I told y'all COVID almost took me down the mat or whatever. Cassandra Key, what's going on, Legal Beagle? Hey, matter of fact, we're going to talk about something that might be down your alley here in a minute, too. So let me tell y'all, let me say this to the public. For all of you all that be sending me stuff, an hour is not that long, okay, in communication time. So if you send me something and it doesn't get on this week, especially to my people out in Colorado, I got some people out in Colorado really be in their feelings. It be the same people that don't want to put their name on it. They tell me their name, but they don't want me to say their name. But then they be talking about, well, you didn't get to my comment. And then one person had the audacity to say, well, I supported the show. I gave you $20. You should have talked about you should have talked about my issue. Listen, for those of you who donate to the support of the show, let me tell you what that doesn't mean. That doesn't mean that you get some preferential treatment. That just means you're a supporter of the show. And if you choose not to, I don't have a problem with that. But you ain't just going to jump in front of nobody. Y'all be acting crazy about that. Anyway, so we're going to talk about some crazy stuff tonight. Let's see what we have popping off first. And these aren't, matter of fact, I'm going to tell y'all what I want to talk about first, since everybody been talking about it. As you can see at the bottom of the screen, Dave Chappelle was doing a show. and as Dave was sitting up doing his little show, somebody out the audience decided they was going to bum rush the stage and try to give him a little Will Smith action, if you will. Did any of you see that? Anybody other than me see the little event itself? Now, first of all, that was a bad idea. He got a jump start too. This would get me. The dude actually, look here, Brother Rollins said, telling jokes and whooping folks. Absolutely. I'm gonna tell y'all what was so crazy about it. The dude got on stage. Dave is up there doing his thing. And the dude acts like, I don't know if it's any other way to say it, but you know how in football you used to get in your little 3-point stand and charge somebody, or like in the WWF, y'all remember Steve Austin used to, was it Steve Austin that used to spear people? Might not have been Steve Austin, but it was something. Anyway, the bottom line is he tried to do a little spear on him, and Dave actually fell back, but the dude hit the ground, and they commenced. James said The Rock. Yeah, but ain't one of something Berg. Man, I'll think of it. But anyway, this dude hits the ground and then commenced to, I guess when it didn't work out as planned, and they said he had a replica gun on him and a knife or something to that effect. But when the dude hit the ground rather, something went wrong. He couldn't get his traction the way he wanted to, and somehow security winds up with him. And when security winds up with him, he winds up in the corner on the stage, right? And they commence to stomping this dude out like he was getting a gang initiation. I'm talking about they put them feet, hands, elbows. James said they beat the brakes off him. And And one of the people that went to dropping them bows on him was Jamie Foxx. Jamie Foxx, I don't even know how he got into the melee, but he was one of the ones in the midst of putting them paws on him. And next thing I know, and I'm watching Dave, and Dave is cracking jokes. And next thing I know, Dave put the mic down, and Dave go back in the corner and get a few stumps in himself. Okay. Brother Rollins said that was a 90s jumping. Hey, it really was. And I'm just trying to tell y'all, it was so crazy because never have I ever seen somebody go from telling jokes to stomping somebody out in the corner and come back and get the mic and commence to giving a play-by-play of what was going on. And I begin to think to myself and ponder, Detective Pamela Black, glad to see you. And I begin to ponder as the images begin to pop up on my computer screen, and the dude's arm looked like they had done snapped it or broke it or contorted it. It was at minimum, it was dislocated. Let me just say that. Now, I ain't a doctor, but I can tell you by the way that dude's arm was jacked up and turned around, it was at minimum dislocated. And his eyes and face was whooped up, and they put him in the ambulance. And then after they did whatever they did down at the hospital, they then took him to jail, where he was then under a $30,000 bond. Okay. James said the dude looked like an action figure. Yeah, pretty much. But I began to think, one, this goes back to Will Smith. And some of y'all gonna disagree, and I don't care if you disagree. This goes back to Will Smith. When Will Smith walked up on that stage, okay, Rolla said it looks like his arm was facing in the wrong way. You got that right. When Will Smith went up there and slapped Chris Rock, who, by the way, actually was one of the comedians at this event. He had went on stage before Dave Chappelle. And afterwards, he came and made a lighthearted joke. He said, was that Will Smith? But I want you guys to think about this. Will Smith goes on, slaps Chris Rock at the Oscars. It is heavily publicized, talked about for weeks. And now, since then, we've had at least 2 or 3 other cases where somebody charged the stage of comedians. Now, let this be a lesson to all of you who want to get your 20 seconds of fame. You might want to go back to twerking on Facebook and Instagram. Okay. Rod Jake, what's going on, my brother? You said good evening to everybody. Yeah. If you want to get your 20 seconds of fame, you might want to go back to twerking on Facebook and Instagram and all these other places. Because this running up on stage, attempting to knock down, beat up, stab, slap, or whatever, these comedians, every comedian is not built the same. First of all, Dave ain't no little small dude. Let's be clear. Dave done got jacked up. I don't know if he was eating some fruits in Ohio or what he was doing, but he ain't no little dude. Second of all, security is different these days. They didn't even pull him in the back, okay? I'm talking about they didn't pull him behind nothing. They beat and stomped dude out in the corner so you can still see it. Now, I don't know if they said, let's do this right here so we send this positive message out to the rest of these idiots in the world, but they beat him up on stage. That's how you're supposed to do it. Just like my grandma, Margaret Key, God rest her soul, used to say, if you act out in public, wherever you act up at is where I'm going to get you at. And that's what needs to start happening in these cases. You run on up here and act like Will Smith. Matter of fact, it tells me that one day Chris Rock might have to slap Will in public just to send a message to him. Now, I'm not promoting it, but we're not going to sit back Because I'm going to tell y'all, let me say this and be perfectly clear. Some of you all see me out in public at different events. Y'all see me out sometimes when I'm doing shows and activities. Y'all see me out. Some of y'all have even seen me out if I was at a restaurant or something. And many of you have said, hey, Sinclair, I like your show. Or some of y'all have said, I disagreed on the show. And they'll start talking about it something from 6 months ago. But let this be known to you all so that there is no discrepancy amongst you. 99% of the time when you see me, I am a carry concealed pedestrian, if you will. And so if you disagree with something that I say, I suggest that we have some valuable dialogue. But running up on me and attempting to disagree physically is probably going to get both of our names in the paper. Okay? One of us will get our name in the paper for standing our ground and protecting ourselves. And the other one will probably get his name in the obituary section. So I'm just telling y'all, be mindful that when you're dealing with people who are whatever field they're in, even if it's just an everyday worker, stop rolling up on people and doing what ignorant stuff you see them do on TV, because the results, as they say a lot of times, y'all ever notice how when you get ready to take these medicines and they're running them across the TV screen, if you read the real fine print, you know, the ones you got to put your glasses on to read, it'll always say results may vary from person to person. What that means is by taking this medicine or using this machine, everybody ain't going to get the same results. And that's the same thing. Okay. That is the same thing. Brother Rollins said, you have a bigger responsibility as the concealed carrier. Nope. The responsibility I have is not to be the provocateur of any event, but I am not required, nor are any of you, to allow yourself to become the victim of an assault. Okay? I do not have to assume or accept any condition of great bodily harm to allow you to get off some unnecessary injuries to me. Matter of fact, Cassandra, where's the legal beagle at? Cassandra, am I correct that if someone was to come up and approach you and do some physical harm to you, am I correct that the legal standard is you do not have to accept great bodily harm? Anyway, give me a little word on that. But yeah, Rollins, I know what you're saying, but no. I don't know you. We out here in these streets. You roll up on somebody attempting to become physical with them, you are likely to get yourself, hey, Loretta Battle, what's going on, girl? Glad to see you. You are likely to get yourself a little sampling of whatever gauge of weapon that I am toting that day. Hall Stevens, what's going on? Good evening to everyone, she says. Cassandra said, LOL, not quite, but protect yourself at all times. Oh, Cassandra says, just like they do in boxing. Matter of fact, that's an even better analogy. Every time a boxer goes in the ring, the referees, they get by them, they bring them to the center of the ring, and the very last thing they say before they say, now touch gloves, they say, protect yourself at all times. Cassandra, since you out there in legal land, do me a favor. Can you pull up the gist of what Stand Your Ground says about somebody approaching you? You ain't got to give me the whole thing, but pull it up because we need to let Mr. Rollins know that you can't be rolling up on people. So anyway, so we can move on because we do got other stuff to talk about. But yeah, so they tried to roll up on Dave. They the dude jumped on them. They commenced to whooping him up into a different physical standard. And then they toted him off, and all was well that ends well. But I do want you guys to understand the seriousness of this. We are living and operating in a different time. That time frame being now that we are aware that people will do these things, you jumping up on that stage. Let me see, my brother. Let me see what Brother Rollins said. Not sure if VA has stand your ground. I tell you what, every state has the thing that says if somebody attacks you first, you have a right to defend yourself. Okay. Stand your ground in most states generally means that if somebody else is the aggressor, you are not under any obligation to retreat, especially if you believe that there is the potential for great bodily harm and or death. I think I'm somewhat close to accurate on that, but Cassandra gonna let us know. But that is the gist of it. Stand your ground is simply saying you are not under the obligation to run. That's the whole purpose of it. Now, you cannot be the initiator, but you ain't got to run and hide. And I'm telling you, I'm a disabled vet. I ain't got time to be running. They mess around and be done took my benefits if somebody catch me on camera running. So I got to stand my ground. I'm not under any obligation. Anyway, let's see what else we could talk about. All right. Because I want to make sure I get to everything today. Let's see, what is this one? Dear Sinclair, I would like your thoughts on the pictures being posted by mothers with their daughters going to the prom with little or nothing on, looking like they are 30 years old, and the mothers talking about how good their makeup looks, etc. They say, when did we get here? Charles. Well, Charles say he got a problem with the little makeup situation. Okay. And Charles said he wants to know, when did we get here? Well, Charles, unfortunately, we operate in a space. Man, something happened to my little comments, man. I gotta yeah, fortunately, we live in a space by which it is common practice to see people doing stupid stuff. All right. What am I doing? Y'all can see I'm in here messing with stuff I ain't got no business messing with. All right. Let me see if I can get back to the right space here. All right, current comment. There we go. All right. So from that perspective, the thing about what we're dealing with here is craziness, foolishness. All right. Truthfully. And I've seen what Charles is talking about. We are looking at a situation where young girls, and some of them you can't tell how old they are. And that's the truth. They are at many different ages. Some of them look like they might be anywhere from 14, 15 to 17, 18, whatever it is. And you can't see anything that looks like a young lady going somewhere. Matter of fact, somebody tell me if you can, and I'm doing some stuff up here because I can't see y'all comments for some reason. But the issue that I think it comes back to is parenting. Okay. You got to be parenting in order to get to that space. Hold on, somebody put me a comment up here. There we go. There we go. All right. So hold on for a second. I'm sorry. I missed some of them. Cassandra said, according to Georgia stand your ground law, citizens can use deadly force to defend themselves, other people, or property if they believe such force is necessary to prevent death, bodily injury, or a felony. All right. And she said 38 states had the same law. So, Brother Rollins, Virginia might be one of them states. I need you to go look at it. Loretta said these girls pose with guns at the prom. Loretta, what kind of prom stuff is you watching? Oh, Cassandra, hey, Cassandra said Virginia's not one of them. Hold on. Has anybody else seen some, other than Loretta, seen some girls posing, going to the prom with some pistols? It's ridiculous. It really is. All right, all right. Loretta says she saw it on the book. Now think about that, people. And I'm being serious about this because we are teetering down a path where everything is acceptable. Okay. And Brother Rollins said the youth are different. Well, Brother Rollins, I'm going to tell you that's true, but it's only true because the parenting is different. Okay. We should not be at a place where you're comfortable with your 15-year-old looking like he's 30 and you buying her a dress that is revealing at best. Okay. Brother Rollins said no respect for authority or discipline. Again, Brother Rollins is right. And the problem is it begins with the parents. And unfortunately, I know y'all women gonna say this, that I'm picking on y'all, but most of the time it's the mothers. You don't see too many dads out here walking next to their daughter when she getting ready to go to the prom with her behind out or her breasts out or whatever. And let's be clear. To my young folks, you didn't start this process. Okay? We've been going to the prom for years. The difference is this. When you got ready to go to the prom, let's say in the 80s and 90s, let's say the 80s, you were going to the prom with somebody who had, at worst, a gown on. Now I'm not going to sit here and tell a lie because I rocks with God and I ain't get up here to tell y'all no lies. Even back then, we were plotting and planning on how we might do mischief after we had spent a little time at the prom. So we're not talking about something that is abnormal. Okay. Let me see what my brother Rod said. Some daughters dress like their mothers or women that they see. Absolutely. And I am ashamed when I look on Facebook, and while it is not always our sisters that are doing this, the majority, and it could be because I have an uneven balance of Facebook associates, so I probably have more minorities than I do. Hold on. Gwendolyn Lady Elegance Pritchard said she sent y'all a little thread that says some young black women's expelled from high school earned a straight A, lost a full ride scholarship after taking pictures in prom dress with a gun. Uh-oh. We didn't got a little, anybody that wants to see that, there's the link right there from some website called www.lipstickalley.com. You can find it up there. First of all, Lady Elegance, where'd you find a website called Lipstick Alley? We're gonna have to get in, we're gonna have to dig deeper into what that is. But anyway, again, we are not going to be hypocrites because those of us that went to the prom, we were plotting and planning on mischief. All right. Kids, Rollins said kids are more influenced and impressed by celebrities and music and video. Nope. Brother Rollins, I ain't gonna give you that one. Because the thing about it is we had parenting. So when you had real parenting with real solid parental figures, yes, they let their daughters go to the prom, but you didn't go to the prom looking like a hoe. And some of y'all gonna be like, I can't believe he said that. You know what? I'm tired of having to tiptoe around reality. Okay? Everybody knows that 70% or greater of people that were going to the prom was trying to and plotting and planning how could they sneak off and do some type of activity that they shouldn't have been doing. But your mamas and daddies didn't send you out the door looking like you was already providing visual effects to what you was about to be doing in the first place. Riley said Amber Rose, Cardi B, and Megan Thee Stallion are actual role models. Yeah, now that is something. But that's the reason why it's possible is because you don't have a role model in your house. And if you do, she's of the same mindset. See, when you and I was growing up, if you were going to say something that you didn't have any business saying, you had to sneak and do it. Now everybody was like that. Y'all remember how you used to want to curse and I used to say it real fast just to see if I can slip it out. Okay. Sometimes I was successful, but I knew I had to sneak and do it because I wasn't bold enough or disrespectful enough to think that I could do it because mama don't play that. Now they can in middle school, elementary school, high school, they can say what they want because everybody's BFFs. And how dare you send your daughter out here? We keep saying this over and over again. What you put out here in social media land on the book and the gram and Twitter and Snapchat and all these other sites, you can't pull it back when you want to. So that picture of your daughter looking like she ready to sleep with 10 dudes, looking like she 25 and working at somebody's erotic club, you can't get that back. And so don't be sitting around don't sit around and act funny. Rod said, look, a role model should start at home. Absolutely. And I'm going to say this, and I know the Me Too movement is going to start. Matter of fact, somebody remind me in a few seconds to tell y'all about that little Me Too movement thing too. But I know the Me Too movement is going to get me on this. But let me quote y'all something. And this is for me. This is my opinion. It's not the opinion of those supporters of the show. I don't want to hear. No, that ain't the way to start that sentence off. Let me start it off with a disclaimer. I am not saying that it is appropriate for a young man to think a certain way or do something merely because someone wears a particular outfit. That a woman, a young woman, a girl has the right to wear any article of clothing without any man, pervert, pedophile, or otherwise assuming that he has a pass to assault a young woman, period. That's my disclaimer. Now let's flip that. Because we know, okay, Rollins said times are different. Kids are watching their parents do the same thing. It's the time of social media. Right, because some of these, you got the mama and daughter in the social media twerking and doing all this other stuff. All right, so let me say what I was going to say that's probably going to get me in trouble. And then if the show don't be on next week, it's probably because they put me in and they banned me land. So I've given y'all the disclaimer that says it does not give a man, boy, pedophile, pervert, or anybody the right just because of something that you wear. But let me say this, okay? Rod Jake said, we seem to think that athletes and entrepreneurs are more of a role model than our parents just because they're making millions of dollars. Nope. Rod, I don't agree with that. I believe that they find them to be role models because if you and your parent, be it your mother or your father, are sitting in the house doing the exact same thing, I can't lead you nowhere, okay? If a boy comes home, a young man comes home, and he sees his dad sitting in the house, and all he's doing is drinking liquor and rolling up weed, then he can't lead him anywhere but to the liquor and weed. And that doesn't seem like it's fiscally beneficial to the young man, so he might look on TV and see something. If a young woman comes home and she sees a mom sitting up there and maybe she's prepping up for her night out on the town, or maybe she knows whatever the may be going on, whatever. That's all mama can show you if that's all she shows you. So they may look and say, this can't be my role model because I see this every day and it's not productive. Or maybe they do think it's productive. But when they look on TV, they say, well, at least they doing it and they getting paid too. All right. Now, let me go and finish this statement so we can move on to something else so I can get in trouble. I already gave my disclaimer. All right. Star Coleman, you know we always glad to see you. Now, what I'm about to say, ladies, if y'all click off the show, I understand it. But I got to say it because I got to say what I believe to be true. Even though it doesn't give a young man, a pedophile, a pervert, or whatever you want to call these people, the right to do it, because of the fact that we know that there are pedophiles, perverts, young men who are inexperienced, and some who have been taught the wrong way about how to approach and deal with a young woman. Because we know they exist, then how dare you sit up and send your daughter out here in these streets with her body exposed and then expect the pedophiles that you know exist out here to expect that you don't think that the grown men supposed to look at your daughter who they can't tell what age she is. Okay, I'm saying this and I'm gonna hit it and it's gonna be tough, but you got to take this. You ready to fire off, fire up, shoot, arrest, get all these little actions. You ready to send everybody in your family to some man's house to do something to him because he did something to who is now your baby girl. She wasn't your baby girl when you was letting her leave the house every day with her body hanging out. She wasn't your baby girl when you knew she was up talking on some of these crazy sites, saying stuff, talking about sex and all this other stuff. You knew it was going on and you didn't do nothing. So if you send your daughter out the house looking like a young hoe, why do you expect somebody with mental problems, somebody who's a pervert, a pedophile, or even somebody who is a grown man who looks at your daughter who, because you didn't help train, all you trained her how to do was makeup, nails, and tight clothes and whatever you trained her to do. You sent her out there. She might be 15, but she looks like she's 25. These Negroes is not going to ask your daughter, can I see the ID? Especially if she's hanging out somewhere where they sell alcohol at. They hanging out lying about how old they are. No, it's not right. Okay? Let me say this. Barry Horton, what's going on, my brother? It's not right. We don't condone it. But you can expect what you inspected before she left your house. And I know it's tough. I know some of y'all gonna be mad. I know y'all gonna send the little cancel culture. I don't care nothing about that. Because somebody should have told you this. Somebody in your life should have said it. What do you expect these grown men to do when you send your teenage daughter out there looking like a grown woman, acting like a grown woman, lying like a grown woman? You think it's supposed to be on every grown man to walk around to. Matter of fact, let me tell y'all how crazy our culture is. Okay? I'm going to tell you how crazy our culture is. Thank you, Star. Star said, I ain't mad, tell him. We live in a culture where grown women say, do not ask a woman her age. It's almost disrespectful to ask her age. Okay? Ty said, these Negroes feel entitled to act on what they see. It's sad. Well, Ty, that's true. But let me tell you about the other Negroes, meaning the mamas and daughters that's allowing them to go outside, right? Looking like that. Yeah, these Negroes should not feel like they're entitled to ever put their hands on somebody. But what do you expect? When I go fishing, When me and my dad go fishing, I take a fishing pole, I take some live bait, it might be some minnows and some worms, it might be some crickets. And when I cast that line out, I expect to catch fish. Why? Because I went fishing in a place where I knew fish normally are. Okay? So Ty, let me put this in, let me sprinkle this on your spirit. If a grown man is in a place where grown women ought to be, and you got your teenage daughter out there dressed like a grown woman, makeup on like a grown woman, body out like a grown woman, why is he supposed to guess whether or not she's supposed to be there and what's her age? He should not have to ask questions, because you should have taught your daughter enough values that she's not out there promoting something that she ain't. I know that's tough. No, you don't want to hear, because I know you're pro-woman. And I know you believe, listen, I don't care who it is. I don't care who it is. But the truth has to be what it is. Okay? Uh-oh, here we go. Nigga said, hold on. Carol says, speak it, cuz at least I'm getting some female support. Star and Carol is rocking with me. And again, I started with a disclaimer because I did not want there to be a situation where somebody assumed that I was saying that these Negroes and these pedophiles and perverts who do these things had a right to do it. I started with the disclaimer that saying them Negroes ain't got the right to do it. But I'm not going to let you off the hook. Oh, let me see what Ty said. That just means that he is looking to sexually assault a grown woman and got a girl instead. Nope. Ty, hold on. No. Nikki Carter said, if he doesn't ask, don't complain when you get hemmed up. All right, hold on. Ty said, I'm not mad with you. I just think it's sad. All right, let's go back to what Ty said before. She said, that just means he's looking to sexually assault. No, it doesn't. No. You don't have to be. Okay. Woo. Look, y'all see how ain't no men chiming in on this. They're going to let me get out here in the deep end of the pool by myself. Let me say this to you, Ty. I gave a scenario where a grown man is at a location where he would expect a grown woman to be, a place that perhaps they sell alcohol, whatever. And if your 15-year-old daughter, your 16-year-old, 17-year-old, whatever age is at the establishment where grown women would be expected to be, and she is dressed like a grown woman, got makeup on like a grown woman, he shouldn't have to ask those questions. Why is your daughter at 15 and 16 and 17 in that establishment? He doesn't have to be looking to assault a grown woman. That doesn't make any sense. Lady Elegance Pritchard said, I totally agree with what you're saying. See, there you go. Let me see if I got any brothers out there going to rock with me. Rollins said, women be fair. Star said, it's crazy when you can't tell the mom from the daughter taking pictures butt to butt, half naked, hair down their backs, looking like a Barbie. Makes no sense. Speak on it, Star Coleman. Let me see what we got here. Brother Rollins said, little girls should be presented as such. There it is, my brother. Carol said, amen. Of course, Nikki said she's shaking her head. Johnny said, these teenagers are set up different than when we were kids. It's the milk or the food. Now, Johnny, you're absolutely right. But let me say this, Jay Dizzle. The issue isn't the physical structure. There are some big-boned, full-figured young people, and simply being that, Nikki Carter said it doesn't matter to some men how old a girl is. Hey, we're not saying that every man is right. We didn't even get him a pass. Rod said a woman will never put herself in a situation she can't get out of. Why would you allow your daughter to do it? Absolutely. Rollins said, Miss Nikki, those guys are creeps. Let's go back to what Johnny was talking about. Johnny was 100% right. But Johnny, I think the point that I was making is, even if you had a daughter who was unusually filled out at a young age, first of all, old folks say you better take her to the doctor and make sure she ain't doing that. That's what old folk would have said. But let's say she's not. If you don't let her go out dressed like she is marketing her physique and doing it in a place where it's only grown men at, then there should not be a situation where it's a major issue. But again, if you're going to, and let me say this, I want to keep it a stack with y'all. You can blame the parents for how they let their kids leave the house, but a lot of times parents don't know where their kids going. That's keeping it a stack. You think they're going over here? All right. What did Taya say? She said, oh, to be fair, I agree that young girls should not be hanging out and doing things that grown women do. I was just speaking to the whole assault issue. Okay. Yeah. Johnny said, true indeed. Be scantily dressed is not cute, young or old. Hey, and all I'm saying is, in relation to what the author of that said about the prom dresses and all these things, all right? Rolla said, and kids lie to their parents. They absolutely do. And I'm not speaking right now about a parent whose child leaves the house and switches clothes and put on something that's showing all her body and looking. I'm not talking about that. You did your job by when they left the establishment, they looked a certain way. Since the beginning of time, some have been sneaking little outfits in and changing when they got to school or wherever they was going. Johnny said, when they dress like that, there, absolutely. Rod said, we stop being parents and want our children's friend. Absolutely. So that we can move on to the next thing. Again, we are not defending men that mess with young girls or young boys who are out here preying on young girls or whatever. But I think every time we get ready to have an issue about the truth, about how some, not all, some women are allowing their daughters to leave from their presence looking and be out here in grown folks' land, at some point, we have to stop not acting like it exists so we can address it in our communities so we don't have so many young girls going through traumatic situations. That's all I'm saying. All right. Let me find something else to talk about because y'all on one. Let me see if I can change the tone here a little bit. All right, let's take one of these right here. Let's see what this one says. It said, dear Sinclair, I recently got my tax money back and it was a decent amount. My husband wants half to buy a new car for him. Because of our businesses, we file separate, so he gets his own. He thinks because I use our 3 kids, he's entitled to half. I realize relationships take sacrifice, but I don't agree he should get half my tax money. Woo! Now that's a kind of a little sneaky one right there. All right. Any more? Glad to see you. All right, so y'all, we got one right here. Let me see. Essie Shepherd, glad to see you. So we got one that is asking the question, and I'm gonna remix this for you. She said her and her husband filed her taxes separately because both of them have businesses. And she gets to claim the 3 kids on her taxes, which we understand that generally. Robin Williams, how you doing this evening? Let me see what Jay Dizzle said. All of it is y'all tax money. Okay. Jay Dizzle said, not my tax money. Rollins said, sounds fair. They're married. All right. So here's what she said. She said, Because he files, he gets his. Because I file, I get mine. I don't feel like I should give him half my tax money. Here's the thing about this. Brother Sizemore, what's going on, my brother? Let me see who else. Nikki Carter. Y'all notice the theme with Nikki. She talking about what he do with his tax money. I don't know. That wasn't part of what she said. You can see down at the bottom what she said. I don't know. Facts not in evidence. But here's the thing. Here's what she did say. She said they both file separately because they both have businesses. But here's the key phrase for me. She says, I get to claim our 3 kids on my taxes. She didn't say I get to claim my 3 kids. She said I get to claim our 3 kids. So I'm going to say if it is their kids, most of the time the person who James said it sounds petty. I agree. Most of the time, the individual who utilizes the children will get, I think y'all call it the earned income tax credits or some kind of benefits, okay? Rod said, why is it okay for the women to claim the kids, but then cuts the husband out? Now the money is hers. Hey, Rod, big Rod, hey. That's why I'm going right down there. So Rod didn't beat me to it. I think that, and I understand the benefit. Let me say that. I understand if one person can claim and it generate a greater amount of income coming back into the home versus the other person, because maybe the numbers don't work out that way. I don't know that I'm all that understanding about. Rollins said people always let money create a strain on a relationship. Hey, I don't understand why she is tripping about giving him half the money. And I don't know what the half is. Remember, she didn't give us any figures. But I don't know that it matters. If you get to claim the 3 kids on your business, and she said, if y'all look at what it says at the bottom, she says she got a decent amount back. Okay. Brother Sizemore says, split the money. What's hard about that? Hey, I agree. Now, here's another solution. Ladies, y'all might like this. When he gets his in, she gets hers in, they put it all in one pile, and then they split it. That way, everything that came in, it got split down the middle. Nikki Carter said maybe he is reckless with money. That's the facts not in evidence. Attorney Cassandra, can you check her on trying to admit evidence that's not been presented to the court? Okay. Ty said give him half the child tax credit earnings. I could live with that. Star says she needs to give him the value of 1.5 of the children. Hey, seemed like Star got some good ideas today. All I'm saying is, if she doesn't think it's fair, then all they have to do is take what both of them received, put it in one pile, and split it in half. That way he's not receiving a unfair advantage over her, because we don't know what he's getting back. He may be getting a lot back, but most of the time, nobody's going to get more than the person who's claiming the kids. Okay. Nikki Carter said they should alternate filing the children. Nikki Carter, as usual, I don't agree with you. And here's why. I believe that if the mother of the children gets a greater financial value by claiming the kids, I don't think there should ever be a year that you lose money because you won't sit down and say, it's more even for me to just give you some of this. All right. Rod said, it sounds like the husband's business is making a lot of money because jointly they would owe too much taxes. Absolutely. James said that doesn't work if you lose money. Absolutely. I agree with you on that. Andy Moore said, I wonder why he didn't carry at least one of the kids. She should at least give him some of the money. All right. I'm rocking with that. Cassandra said they obviously filed the way they do for a reason. I don't understand why the refund amount is in question if they agreed to how they filed. Cassandra, it could be that they never even spoke about it. And she just said, well, I'm gonna file the girls because if you file one of the kids, we're gonna lose money. If I file, we're gonna get more back. Let's say that's the way the conversation. Again, facts not in evidence, but we don't have a reason to believe that there at least probably wasn't an issue with the filing. I personally believe that if you did generate more money by you using them, and again, she did not say I filed my kids. She said they were their kids, implying that there were kids that they had together. So I just think that money should never be the issue of contention, and she said that James said, again, she sound petty. I concur, James. Nikki said this can't be the first time they filed like this. Well, it probably isn't, Nikki, but the issue may be this may be the first time he said, hey, I need to get half because I need to get me a car. Because remember, he asked for a specific reason according to what she's got at the bottom of our screen, which says he said he wanted half to get a car. Okay. Rollins said the issue is half the money, not how they filed. Absolutely. And so the advice that I'm going to give her before we move on to the next thing is this. Look deep down within inside yourself and ask yourself, one, would you have earned that money if he was allowed to use at least one of the kids? And if the answer is no, then at least assess that you reaped some benefit by claiming all three and find some fair medium if he needs a car or if he wants to get a car. And you said your words exactly as we see on the bottom of the screen. You said you got back a decent amount. Don't let that be the reason why next year y'all are arguing over who gets to file the kids. All right. Sorry, I'm sure this is not the first time they filed this way. I believe the refund amount is the issue. Probably so. Cassandra said, if he's my husband and needs a car, what's the issue? I agree 100%, Cassandra. And that's the point that I'm making. If he had just said to her, hey, you need to let me get half that bread, I probably would feel different about it. But she herself stated he needed to get a car. And I believe that whether it was the wife or the husband, if the other person needed to get a car, and we're talking about some tax money, let the person get the car. All right? That's just my thing. All right, let's look at if we got time for one or two more. I told y'all we're going to go a few seconds over tonight. All right, let's go to this one. Sinclair, I've been engaged for 8 months. And recently my fiance were talking, and she said she wants to keep her dad's name as well as mine when we get married. I'm somewhat conflicted on how I should. I don't know what he was trying to say in the end, right? Nikki Carter said maybe he doesn't need a car. I ain't going through that mess with you. Sizewell said we have a situation where a wife has better health insurance. Do you pay her if you get sick? Hey. That's some good things. All right, so we got a case where a young man and a young woman have been engaged for 8 months. They're having some kind of dialogue, and in the process of the conversation, she says, "Oh yeah, when we get married, I want to keep my dad's name hyphen your name." Okay. Now let me say this, and this is a tricky one. Because first you got to know why it's important to her. Don't just totally discount her saying that she wants to keep her dad's name. There may be a reason. Okay. She may have made a promise to her dad in the past. She may not have any brothers. I don't know what the reason is. So, young man, let me say this. Before you go down the deep end of the water, ask yourself, why are you conflicted about it? Okay. That's the first question. Before you say anything to her that may be negative, ask yourself, what's the conflict that you have? Okay. Rollins said, nothing wrong with that. She still gets his last name. Ty said, it did not say that she was not going to take his name. It just says she wanted to keep her father's name and add his name. Absolutely. But listen now, I'm trying to be balanced in my approach. So young man, I am going to say, before you go and get yourself in a tizzy about it, ask yourself, what's the real conflict that you have, and see if it's possible for you to resolve it internally before you get ready to have some conversation with her further. Rod said they simply need to talk about it. All right. Now, and I do think it's important for you to consider, I think the reasoning is important. But let me go ahead and get the Me Too movement on me. Okay. Cassandra said, young man, pick your battles. This ain't one you want to have. All right, Cassandra, she's absolutely right. You do have to pick your battles. But on the other hand, since I've defended the young lady, let me defend the young man. If it is that important to you, and if your conflict, let me see, Jane said, why is she saying her father's name instead of saying her last name? I don't know, James. We just going off the way. Remember, we don't even know the age of the person writing this. So let me say this, young man. If it is truly conflicting, look, Nikki Carter talking about, here we go. Young man, if you are truly conflicted, and if you have prayed about it, and if you have really soul searched and it bothers you that much, I'm going to give you a professional term that I use every day in my office. Okay. We got to talk about risk to reward. There is a risk that if you get into this battle, as Cassandra said, pick your battles. There is a risk that if you get into this battle, you may wind up with her not being your fiance anymore, depending on how far you take this. So in business terms, risk to reward, you have to ask yourself these things before you go down that path. But if it means that much to you, then you may decide that since she wants to keep her dad's name so bad, let her stay with her dad. If it means that much to you. I believe that you should be able to have a balanced approach. I don't necessarily think that you are being fair to the young lady. Maybe you should ask her some more questions, like, can you explain to me why this is important to you? Because there may be a backdrop story that you don't know about. So I would say before you make a decision, get some more information. Because sometimes we get in a particular state of mind and we simply don't have enough information, and we proceed forward full guns blazing. But again, and ladies, y'all have to understand this. To a man, this particular young man, he's saying he's already conflicted about it. If he's conflicted now, he's going to be conflicted later. If he can't resolve it emotionally now, he's not going to have it resolved after the fact. And maybe during the course of the conversation, the young lady needs to consider and ask him, why is this so important to him? Okay. I don't know. But I definitely believe it is worth considering a lot of things, certainly the risk to reward, because sometimes when you got to pay the price, you got to pay that price. All right. Brother Sizemore says, that's fair. Communicate before assuming what the motives are. Absolutely. And again, if in the end you cannot come to some meaningful resolution, and ladies, I hate to say this, but I've seen so many of y'all write it a certain way. Stop assuming that the only way this young man or any man can prove that he loves you sincerely is to make a sacrifice in allowing you to do whatever it is you want to do. That's fundamentally, it's unfair. And two, I get burnt out and tired of counseling people who have these conversations about relationships are about sacrifice. No, they're not. Pick somebody who likes what you like. Pick somebody who wants to do the things you want to do. And then it's not a sacrifice. Okay? Cassandra said, I have an executive position, and if I got married, I would not change my name for my established professional reasons. Okay. And I don't think that there's any conflict with that unless the person that you are trying to marry disagrees, and it may be a deal breaker. Okay. All I'm saying is talk about it first. But if something is that important to you as a woman and just the opposite is that important to him as a man, then maybe you two aren't the right two to be together. Okay? Because we love to use the phrase, well, it's all about the sacrifice. Why? Isn't it easier to simply search for somebody who feels the way you feel about life issues, who likes the things that you like in life, and that be the person that you pick, and then you're not forced to consider everything has to be a battle. Okay? I'm just trying to be fair about this because we love the phrase sacrifice and relationships. They go hand in hand. No, they don't. They just don't. And if that's the standard that we've created as a society, that in order for you to prove this to me, you must be willing to put up with some ignorant that I do. And then once you do that, or then only then are you really showing me how you really feel. That's crazy. Cassandra said, people need to be flexible, period. Obviously, I agree with that, Cassandra. But there got to be some things that some stuff ought to be a deal breaker. Okay? It shouldn't be, well, I want you to understand how important this is to me that I keep my father's last name. And then you're not understanding why it's equally as important to him that you only have his last name. And if you can't come to an agreement on something that's that important to both of you all, telling her or she telling him to sacrifice their values and beliefs in that moment in order to prove that you care enough about me, that's foolish. Okay? That's foolish. Ty said that's that ride or die thing. And I hope y'all understand why I'm saying that. I'm not saying that compromise is a problem. I'm saying the expectation that the only way if she puts her foot down in the sand and says, I don't care what you say, I'm keeping my dad's name. And if he puts his foot down and says, not if you get married to me, then the answer is don't get married to each other. Because both of you have equal value in what you're saying, and you can't come to a conclusion. And if the next thing out your mouth is, well, if you really love me, then you will understand. Well, he can equally say, if you really love me, you'd understand. But if, again, to the young man, to be fair, you only use the phrase conflicted, which as a longtime relationship counselor, I will say to you, that implies that you're not locked into it. You're just conflicted about it because maybe maybe it's a new concept that you weren't considering. Okay. So because, and I want all of you all to realize, he did only state that he was simply conflicted. So young man, if you are only conflicted about it, then try to work it out within yourself. And if you need more information, go to her and ask her the questions that might give you some balance so that you can then maybe resolve the conflict that you have within yourself. And maybe the decision is it really doesn't even matter that much to you. Or maybe it is, if you learn why it's so important to her, that maybe you'll say, in the greater scheme of things, her reasoning is sound and I can understand it. And as Cassandra said, maybe you say, this ain't even a battle I gotta have, because you're only conflicted. You never said you was dead set against it. So maybe she presented it to this young man and he hadn't even thought about that because he was thinking totally different. So again, pray about it. Ask for some understanding. Ask her a series of questions. Find out why it's so important to her. Do everything you can to get enough clarity to make the right decision for the right reason. All right. Look, let me see. I thought I had one more thing I wanted to go over, but time may have expired. You know what? Yeah, we're gonna go ahead and shut it down because these other things, I don't want to keep y'all all night and then y'all be like, I ain't coming back to the show because I don't like the way that Sinclair try to monopolize our time. So that's what I'm gonna do. Anyway, people, listen, I appreciate you guys rocking with me. Anymore says, if that's going to be a problem, then maybe they shouldn't tie the knot. Somebody has to give an inch. They need to do some serious talking. All right, I can rock with that. James said, if they can't compromise now, y'all can finish that one because you know what he's saying. Again, people, listen, I appreciate you guys hanging out with me. Can't wait to see you till next week. Listen, for those of you who all have been sending your support through Cash App, look, let me say I appreciate it. Again, if you got anything you want to talk about, always send it in. We'll talk about it. We'll have dialogue. And I appreciate you guys for allowing this to be a forum by which people can see your comments, because even though I'm the host of the show and I've got some strong opinions, y'all don't even realize a lot of the responses that I personally get, they'd be funny because it's people who out there who know you guys because they see you every week. And they'll be like, yeah, such and such said this. And so you've become a part of the show over the years, and I really appreciate it. So keep doing what you do. Keep joining us every week. And let's keep growing our thing, man. Invite somebody to come check out the Sinclair Show. If you're out there and you're watching on YouTube, then hey, hit them the like button or whatever. If you're on Facebook, like and subscribe wherever you do this stuff at. And we're gonna have some fun, but I gotta go, people.
It's about that
Good night.
time, baby. Oh yeah. Here we go.